Okay, guys, continuing on with the CD collection. I think we are on part 49 going forward. Eventually, I'm going to get that down so I actually have the right number every time. But we're still in the E section. It's kind of crazy to be almost halfway through 100 videos and still have so much of the collection left to go through. But we're just going to continue and just keep knocking it down a video a week, and we'll get there eventually. First up, this is a band. If you follow this channel, you guys know that I love this band. This is Elder Wind with their debut full length entitled "The Magic of Nature." This is a first press, limited to 1,000 copies. I paid more for this CD than I think I've paid for anything else that is in my collection. At the time, there were no reissues. They have since reissued this. So you can probably get it at a cheaper price than what I paid for it. I have no regrets, as this was one of the more influential albums in my collection for me personally, as far as my tastes go. When I first heard this back in 2011, it changed me. It changed the way I look at certain styles of music, and there was kind of no coming back for me after listening to this. Just folky, atmospheric black metal, fantastic stuff. I absolutely love this. Just nature worship at its finest, and it is one of my favorite pieces in my collection, if not my favorite. When an album touches you and changes you that much, it's kind of hard to follow that up. Their second album, The Colder the Night, is about as perfect of a follow up to that album as you could possibly fathom. This one has that kind of wintry, cold, just that wintry atmospheric style vibe going on. The Colder the Night has this almost like autumn evening feel going on. Just super melodic, atmospheric. I love it. I know the vocals on this band put some people off, but I love just everything about Elder Wind. So I completely love this album. Had I heard this one first, would it have had the same effect as The Magic of Nature did? It is quite possible. I do enjoy it that much, but the Magic of Nature just has a sentimental place in my heart, so it will probably always be my favorite. And then we have their newest full length that came out last year. This one did not garner nearly enough attention. This was Elder Wind's most intense and kind of ferocious album to date. Instead of having almost like this nature worship feel going on, there was an angry, melancholic, almost spiteful feel going on in this album. It was written as a response to the wildfires that were raging through Russia at the time, and watching the wildlife perish, and all of the plant life as well up in flames, and everything that you love just being engulfed in flames, and having to watch it die. Yeah, I could see why you would put out the most intense album to date. Some people enjoy this one more than the other two. For me, I do appreciate it. I do like it. It is a different style. You can't expect a band to put out the exact same album over and over and over. Do I like it as much as the first two? That's questionable, but I do enjoy this. It is still very, very worthy of being pulled off the shelf, and it does still get the playtime along with the other two albums. Next up, we have a hard rock, kind of traditional heavy metal band out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. This is Electric Age with their Good Times Are Coming EP. This was reissued by Dive Bomb Records. This was released, I think, in 2013. Originally released, I'm not sure when Dive Bomb did the reissue for this. Dive Bomb has it like an act for um, finding these obscure heavy metal demos and EPs and reissuing those. They dig up stuff that I would have never even listened to otherwise, and for that I am grateful. I believe Rick over at the Dreadful Minutes, this one came from him in a care package, and I do dig this one quite a bit, so I am appreciative of him sending me that. Next up, we have trying to remember where this band is out of. This was released on Dark Symphonies, but I can't remember where this particular band is located. This is Elegion with The Last Moment. This is kind of gothy. I saw this described in a review one time that said Fiona Apple black metal, and I don't really get a heavy feel of the black metal. It is very gothic metal. There are some blackened elements going on this, but I can kind of see it. It's kind of got that Fiona, especially with the vocals, with the female vocalist. It has some sappy stuff going on in this, but I kind of dig this. It is the only release that I own from this project, but I do like it for what it is, and I find it enjoyable. I can get into those kind of sappy type songs anyway, so that kind of works for me. But pretty decent stuff from, I guess, Elegion. Yeah, I probably butchered that band name. Next up, we have some epic black metal out of Greece. This does not look like epic black metal from the cover. If I was to see that, I would never think that's epic black metal. But this is actually very, very strong stuff. This is Eligos with Laments for the Fallen. This is 8 tracks, and it is pretty solid stuff. The follow-up to this, I think, was a little bit stronger, but I do enjoy this quite a bit. I believe the follow-up was an EP, so that's not really fair. But this full length is phenomenal. This was released on Raised Soul Productions, so that kind of is a giveaway that it's black metal. But I never, just looking at that album cover, would have thought that was kind of epic black metal. I got this in a Raised Soul little bundle pack that I purchased on eBay not too terribly long ago, maybe a year or so ago. But no regrets on that purchase, especially with this one in there, because this is solid stuff. Next up, we have a band out of Poland. I guess a one-man project out of Poland. I believe he brings in other musicians as well to help out on his albums. Ton of albums released. This is Christian black metal or unblack metal, white metal. I'm not sure I think unblack is the go-to term for that. I know a lot of people frown away from that, and I don't discredit any band for their subject matter. As you can see, I mean, there's stuff going through here that you probably don't like, you wouldn't agree with, but I mean, if that's the case, some of this like gore and violent stuff, I couldn't listen to that either. If we were just using that as a prerequisite, I have no issue whatsoever with Christian bands at all. And this is Gabor with Repent or Perish. This is some solid black metal. I guess unblack metal. I only own 2 releases from this band. This one was released back in 2008, but I do like this one. As far as unblack metal goes, this is one of the better unblack metal bands that I've heard. I know it kind of goes against the whole general idea of black metal to begin with, so I can understand why people would be up in arms about that. But I personally have no qualms with Christian black metal or Christian metal, period. So, and then we have Gabor with War, and those are the only 2 releases that I do own from this one. I like the Repent or Perish album a little bit more, but this one's pretty solid as well. The one that came after this was pretty bad, and I think that's what just kind of stopped me from picking up more of their material. I heard it was either the one after this or the one after that one. There was one that was pretty terrible, and at that point, I just stopped picking the stuff up. So, next up, this is an EP that came out back in 2011. I was excited to see where this band was going to go from here. This is Elks with Destined for the Sun. This is sludgy, kind of atmospheric metal. I think this band is out of Portland. If I'm remembering correctly, there's a lot of sludge that comes out of Portland. I could be wrong. The next album, I'm pretty sure, is out of Portland. But as far as Elks go, I heard this and I was excited to see where the band goes from here. It's kind of spacey themed, and it was very good stuff. And then they never put anything else out. So I don't know what happened there. Kind of sad. I wish I'd have heard more from that project. Next up, we have some more sludge. This is kind of sludge metal, infused with crust, infused with death metal. This is Elitist with Fear and a Handful of Dust. This band is no longer known as Elitist. They changed their name to Bastard Feast. I guess I could have filed this away in the collection with Bastard Feast, but good stuff. I enjoy this album. I think I like this more than the Bastard Feast stuff, if that is possible. But I got this in a Season of Mist grab bag, and it was one of the more stellar albums that I've gotten out of those grab bags. So good stuff there from Elitist. Changing gears a little bit, we have some folk metal, I guess melodic death metal / folk metal. We have Alluviette with Everything Remains as It Never Was. A lot of people don't really care for this album in Alluviette's discography. I like it. Generally, it seems like I like the stuff that a lot of people don't particularly care for. I don't know what. I guess I just have piss poor taste, but I like this album. Is it my favorite from them? Absolutely not, but I do dig it. I think I got this back when Nuclear Blast used to put out grab bags, and I think this one was in there. And then I have the one that actually got me into this band. This is Alluviette with Helvetos. I remember when this one came back, it had to be around 2011 or 2012. 2012. And I actually, like, distinctly remember when this album was released. I remember the hype behind it. I went ahead and checked it out, and it's what got me into this band. It's still not my favorite release from them. I will show that in just a second, but for a while it was, just because it was my gateway and entryway into the project. And then we have what is probably my favorite release from the band. This one came out in 2019. This one is, I'm going to butcher it, Atiganatos. Yeah, I butchered that. I know I did. But this one is probably definitely my favorite of the three that I own. This band has quite a few more full lengths under their belt that I just don't have in my possession. But I do enjoy this particular release here. I think a bit more than the other two that I own. Keeping going with the folk kind of folky vibes, we have like a power / folk metal band. Believe this band is out of Germany. Could be wrong on that. It's been a little while since I kind of looked them up or paid them much attention. But we have Elven King with this is, I don't know how to pronounce this. Weird, word. I don't know why. It's WYRD. So I know it can be. I think it can be pronounced either weird or word. But folky power metal, pretty decent stuff. I think this and the other one that I own are probably two of the kind of lower looked on albums in their discography. Maybe that's why I haven't just sought out more of their material, because I also own the Winter Wake. There we go. I couldn't hardly read that font. My contacts have been bothering me for the last week or so. I need to purchase some new ones, or I'm going to be in glasses every time you see me. I like this one a little bit more than the other that I own, but neither one just really calls my name to come listen to that often when I'm pulling stuff off the shelf to listen to. I mean, for what they are, they're decent, but it seems like I say that a lot for stuff that I just don't pull off the shelf and listen to that much. When I say for what it is, it's a pretty good release. You know right then that it's something that I just don't listen to a whole lot. So, moving on. Next up, this one's pretty funny. We have Elvira Presents Monster Hits. I got this in an antique mall for $2. And I actually, the last time that I listened to this was on Halloween, or leading up to Halloween. We had a little, our family was here carving pumpkins and all this, so I went ahead and threw this on, and my son hated it, but my wife thought it was funny, and we had a good time listening to this. It has Elvira doing the introductions, and you have like Alice Cooper's Feed My Frankensteins on here. You got the old Monster Mash song, Nightmare on My Street with Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff. It's got some funny stuff on there, but I'm gonna move on. Don't want to spend too much time on that. Next up, we have some power metal out of Greece. This is Elwing with War. This is one that was criminally overlooked when it came out. It came out back in 2005 on Black Lotus Records. Never really heard too much hype around this, and I know there's a lot of mediocre power metal that comes out of Greece. Greece and Italy both just churn out mediocre power metal bands, but this one was actually really good, and I never heard anyone just speak too much about it, and it's a good solid release there. If you're into power metal and you haven't heard Elwing, I advise you go check that one out. And we have another band out of Greece, and it is also released on Black Lotus Records. This is one that I don't know how this came to be in my possession. Looking at the front of the album, it's something that I probably never would have thought sounded the way that it does. It's something that I probably just would have passed over. It has a very new metal or even metalcore vibe going on from that artwork. This is the Elysian Fields with 12 Ablaze. The album title, 12 Ablaze, that just screams new metal to me, but this is like symphonic black metal, and it has some death. It's like symphonic black and death metal, and it is awesome. I cannot get enough of this release. This is old. This was 2001. It still holds up today, over 20 years later. This is the only album from this band that I own. This is another one that I need to rectify. If any of their other releases are half as good as this one, I definitely need to get on the ball and check them out. When I was getting the stuff off the shelf to get ready for this video, this one actually still had dust. It had dust on it because it's been up there for so long, and I was kind of kicking myself because I just looking at it, I remembered how good of an album this is. So I'm probably going to set this one to the side and revisit it here very, very soon, because everything that I remember off this is absolutely phenomenal. Next up, we have another one that came in a care package that Rick sent me. This is Elysium with Inspired Hatred. This is another demo that was dug up by Dive Bomb Records. It is the Inspired Hatred demo, and then it has the bonus tracks from the Crystal Blisters demo on this as well. I think this was originally released like back in the 89 or 90. This is just some Florida thrash metal, old school sounding thrashy goodness. And as I said earlier, I just don't understand or know where Matt from Dive Bomb finds this stuff. He just digs up the most obscure metal demos just out of nowhere and releases them on Dive Bomb Records. I mean, I am grateful for that, but it is crazy just some of the stuff that he digs up and the quality of the stuff that he's able to find and dig up. The tag on this shirt is itching me like crazy. Next up, we have In Symphonia with In Morning Symphony. This is the EP from this band that was released back in I'm going to say 1999. I'm not seeing a date on this. Very solid doomy death metal. I thought I owned their full length that came out after this. I believe this band's out of Chicago. They had a full length that came after this that was pretty solid as well, and I think that's all that they released. And I swore that I owned that full length. I looked it up. I couldn't find it on the shelf when I was getting ready for this video. I looked it up. I saw the album artwork on it. It looked so familiar that I know that I've had that album in my possession, but it is no longer on my shelf. And I don't know what happened to it, so I'm going to have to at some point track that back down and put it back in the collection, because it appears to be lost. But the EP or demo here is another solid piece of the discography, and I just need that full length. Next up, looking at this, you would not think this is what it is. This is Emancer with The Human Experiment. Looking at this and the album title, the way that the fonts are, this looks like some cyber grind or something, or I don't know. But this is Norwegian black metal, and it does not look like it would be Norwegian black metal at all. But this is pretty stellar Norwegian black metal. It's very dark stuff, and I really dig it. I'm thinking this came out mid 2000s. I don't see a date on this one either. If memory serves me correct, I'm wanting to say somewhere around 2006. Could be completely wrong on that, but that's what my brain's telling me. But I never would have checked that out if I thought I was looking for Norwegian black metal. That is something that I never would have put two and two together, listened to. So the cover does not match the sound on that album at all. Next up, we have some black and death metal, heavy emphasis. Let me get a drink. I'm getting tongue tied. Some black and death. Maybe I need another drink. Some black and death metal with heavy emphasis on the blackened. This is Embalmed out of Mexico with Exalt the Imperial Beast. This is some harsh sounding stuff. This will peel the paint off your walls. This was released through Hell's Headbangers. This sounds right up something that would be from Hell's Headbangers. It is very abrasive, very offensive, very dark, very occult. And I mean, I dig it. It can be a hard listen for some. It is just very raw and abrasive, but it's just ferocious and evil. And I mean, it's a good listen. Next up, we have Emblazoned with the Living Magisterium. This is their. I don't see a date on it. This was an EP. This is more black and death metal. Very solid material here. The full length that followed this, I liked a little bit more, but the EP was a good kind of eye opener, kind of something to get me ready for that full length. Some more dark theme, blackened theme, death metal, but solid material. And then we have the full length with it, which is entitled Euchariste Sacramentum. Yeah, but this one is solid. This one is they kind of took a few of the shortcomings that were on the EP, rectified them, and just made a solid album. The structure of this album is probably its greatest strength. They don't overload the front or the back end with the better material. They have a little bit of space between the fast paced stuff to kind of space it out. And I don't know, just the structure and layout of the album as a whole was definitely probably one of the better things about it. So definitely solid material there from Emblazoned. If you're into like Vader and that type stuff, I think you'll be into Emblazoned. That I definitely felt some Vader-esque influence going on in those Emblazoned albums. Next up, we have some brutal death metal out of New Jersey. This is Embludgeonment with Infinite Regress. I got this in an Ungodly Ruins grab bag. It was one of the stronger titles that was in that Ungodly Ruins. When I went through and actually listened through the albums that were included in that, this is one of the albums that I found out of it to be a bit more superior in quality. They put out another full length. This is the only one that I own from them though, but solid stuff there. We have some melodic death metal coming up next. This is out of Argentina, I believe. This is Embodiment with Words Like Violence. This is Argentinian. I don't know how. This is mellow death from Argentina that sounds like it could be from Gothenburg. It has definite Swedish vibes going on in this. Much stronger material than I was expecting just from looking at it. I wasn't expecting just a whole lot when I went into this, and I was very pleasantly surprised. So if you think you can travel from Argentina to Gothenburg, Sweden in an album, that one will do it to you. We got a couple of releases here, a couple of EPs from a band out of Brooklyn, New York. This is Embrace Agony, and the first EP is entitled Path to Redemption. They are kind of thrashy metalcore. Kind of have a mix between, there's like a thrashy melodic death metal mixed with metalcore. I guess that's the best way I could put that. The metalcore is definitely there, and it's kind of like this thrashy mellow death fused in with it. This EP here is okay. I like it all right, but I like the follow up EP a little bit better. And it may be just because of the cover art, because it has boobies on it. But we have Embrace Agony with Fractured Existence. Not going to hold that up too long. I don't want the video taken down. But any digipack that has boobs and a nice little booty right there on the inside, I'm all for it. So Embrace Agony, thank you for that. Thank you for adding some fat material hid into my album shelves. Next up, we have a band. I forget where they're from. This is Embracing with Dreams Left Behind. This came out in the 90s. I want to say they're out of Sweden. And I think this band may be out of Sweden. Melodic death metal, has a few little doomy hints and passages in it as well, but it is very strong in the mellow death. I was hoping maybe I could get confirmation on where this band is from. I'm thinking they're from Sweden though. I do dig this. It's been on the shelf for far too long. This is another one that I need to revisit, because I do remember enjoying this one quite a bit. And then the last one for this video, we have a split. This is Embryonic Depravity and Gorovent with Malignant Opus of Inherited Depravities. I know Embryonic Depravity is from the UK. I believe Gorovent is as well. This is a solid split. I mean, obviously, brutal death metal all the way. But the Embryonic... I keep wanting to say Embryonic Devourment. The Embryonic Depravity portion of this is like straightforward brutal death metal, knuckle dragging brutal death metal, and then you have the Gorovent, that kind of brings in that slamming brutal death metal for the second half. Kind of mix it up a little bit in the split, but I do enjoy both bands' contributions to this. I believe this came in that that huge Severed Records grab bag that I did. It's quite possible, because anytime, even if it didn't, and I see a Severed Records logo on the back, my brain's like, that probably came in the grab bag, whether it did or not. But I mean, 100 CDs, it's hard to remember what came in it and what didn't. That's all I've got for this one. I will have another one up hopefully next Sunday, and we're just going to keep uploading these on Sundays and chipping away at the CD collection that way. That's all I've got for today. Stay classy, stay metal, and I'll see you guys very soon. I promise.